This November 11th, the History Channel proudly salutes the men and women of the armed services with a special Veterans Day Marathon brought to you by the Boeing Company.
From the Watergate Building in Washington, this is HotlineTV. Now here are Hotline editors Amy Walter and John Mercurio.
Welcome back to Hotline TV. I'm Amy Walter.
And I'm Tim Sahd.
On this Veterans Day, we stop to honor our veterans as well as check in on the veterans who were elected to Congress 1 year ago. So, Tim, let's talk about what effect these members have had since coming to Congress.
You know, they came in as the fighting Dems. You know,
right.
They were the ones that upset the Republicans on the sort of outsider image. They came to Congress. Democrats put them on the front lines, you know, making them do their Saturday addresses. And things like that, doing press conferences and stuff like that, presiding over Congress and everything like that. And, you know, they've come with a big voice, but I'm not sure that they've
been able
accomplished
to do much. I mean, the thing is, it's true. I think that they were recruited, as you pointed out, for two reasons. One, because they were outsiders and they couldn't be tagged. They didn't have a voting record and all those things that normally drag a challenger down. But more importantly, that they were able to talk about the war and they didn't have to cede the issue to Republicans because they obviously had their own experiences. The reality, though, as we know in Congress, is that the veterans, while they can be a strong voice for Democrats on this issue, the only way anything's going to get passed in Congress that has anything to do with Iraq is if Republicans start to break ranks. And if they don't, that's it. We could see more Democrats elected who are veterans. Not going to change the dynamic.
That's right. They're relying on the representatives like Jim Walsh in New York, who had to change his vote, who's changing his vote on Iraq to come back and things like that. So, yeah, and that's part of the frustration among Democrats, of course, that you know, their leaders aren't getting stuff done on Iraq and aren't changing, and the vets don't appear right now to be changing it. And like you said, Republicans are going to be the swing votes on this issue.
All right. So now we have vets also running the cycle. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk a little bit about who they are?
Sure. Well, what's interesting is. Last cycle, of course, we mentioned all the Democrats. This cycle,
Patrick Murphy, Joe Sestak, Jim Webb, Chris Carney, right?
Got the list of them. And now this time, Republicans have recruited several, and they were their main recruits in several seats so far this cycle.
So are they running as pro-Iraq, pro-Bush Republicans, or are they just running as guys who fought in a war and now they're running for Congress, but they're sort of detached from Bush's policy on it?
There seem to be two groups. One of the groups that says, and several are running against incumbents on the Republican side who are against the war.
Okay.
Joe McLaughlin against Congressman from North Carolina. So there's one group that says, you know, you're not strong enough in the war, and then there's the other group that says, we're for the war and we're vets, but we're outsiders as well. We can come with this with a fresh angle, but not necessarily against the war, but we're not going to trumpet it either.
Right, and it's harder if you're going to attach somebody to Bush and policies on Iraq, which are obviously very unpopular. It's a lot harder to do that with somebody who's actually fought over there, right? To paint them with that broad brush is a lot easier for somebody who's maybe a lifelong politician than somebody who's actually a veteran. So that's going to be an interesting tactic. We also are seeing, as you pointed out, Republican primaries, whether it's Walter Jones or whether it's Wayne Gilchrist, where you're going to see the war become an issue for the two of them in a Republican primary, more so than general election. Okay. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you very much.
As always, love having our guests here. Tim Sahd, House Race Hotline editor. But that's all the time we have for you today. For all of you who got the day off today, enjoy it.